Hi everyone, it's Angela here. Today I'm going to show you how to add a team member to your site. So you've got a new member or staff and you need to add them to your SharePoint site. So from the front page of your SharePoint site, make sure you're on the home page. If you're unsure, just click on home. To refresh, make sure you're on the home page. You should go to your cog, which always comes up a bit late after a refresh. It should pop up in a minute. Yeah, your cog or your settings, site permissions. Now we've got the what we call three SharePoint default groups that are created when you create a SharePoint site: the owners, members, and visitors group. Now these three groups are quite important and they all have access to the site. What they can do is what differs. So owners have full permissions, member has edit permissions, and a visitor can only read and maybe download, but they can't edit. Okay, so you could add them here by going into add member, and I'll just do one here, but I prefer going to the advanced permission settings because that gives you a bit more options and allows you to see what you're doing. But I'm going to show you both anyway. So if you do add a member to the group, and I'm going to add, I'll call Joanna, and this is for internal purposes only, so the names comes up from the group. Add Joanna, and I'm adding Joanna as a member. Now if I should change my mind and maybe she's an owner, I could do that, but I'm happy she's a member. And then I say Joanna gets an email and she's part of the members group, as I can see here. Okay, so that's a quick one-off and you're happy, you don't have to change anything, and you just want a quick add. But I want to, this time around, use the advanced option so I can show you a few more things. So click on the advanced settings to add a member, and we get to see the default groups in this view, which I prefer, so it's just clearer from our eyes. So members have edit, owners have full, and an owner can add an owner as well, unless your organization restricts that, and the visitors have read. Okay, so at this point I can click onto the members group, and then I can add a new member. I can put the name in here, comes up fine. Now this is really key, is to always look at your show options as just best practice, just to see what happens here, because here an email is going to be sent. Now I might not want that email to be sent yet, I might want to send it later on, but if not, obviously you want them to get the link and so they can come to the site. So if you want to put a message, you can add a message, you know, saying you should have access to the site, or you can bypass that if they're waiting for it, and then share. Yeah, and what I mean by, if you didn't want them to have access now, you can always untick, and then when you're ready to share, you can copy the site URL or whatever you're sharing for them to have access. And so that's another way of adding people to the site. So I hope that was easy enough for you to do. Yeah, and yeah, very simply. Now Joanna has permissions and she can come to the site. I will show you one thing though, since we're here. We go back to site permissions, advanced. Maybe it's good to just share some of the useful tools that you have up here. Now, this is when I was adding, I added them to the group, and group is best practice to have things in the group rather than individuals. But if you got, you know, maybe a person that's going to be there for a very short time and you're not sure you want them in the group, you can add them individually here, straight here. Don't add like 50 people here individually, it'd be hard to manage. But say, for example, don't know if I remember anyone else's name. Let's try. Yeah, I've got Johnny. Again, in here, show options, I get more options for adding someone individually. The group was straightforward, it was just a message. But if I want to add an individual to the site, and then maybe I don't want them to have the default edit, which it seems to give, I click in here and say, I want them to have read only. So I might not want them in my group, just so I remember to take them out after the 6 months. Maybe they're a contractor and I want them to have read only. For now, again, they get the email message if I leave that here and share. Then I would see them outside the group. And remember, we're working on a website, so if it's not showing, you can just refresh. And as you can see, the users here. So whenever, kind of doing my little audits, I can take them out after the 6 months that they've worked here and just remove them that way. So to remove them, it's very easy. Just click here and remove them if I no longer need them to be here. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This is a fairly easy one to do, but quite a common thing that you'll find yourself doing as a site owner.